So thank you so much for the introduction, and thank you for having us today. And I think it's great to be a part of this wonderful event. And I was like everybody else, I think, enlightened by everything that other speakers had said, the entire context. And I fortunately had spent some time in the on the agenda and the details and the excerpts of different speakers. It really is, great that we're coming together today on this platform and talking about guidance in such a detailed manner and bringing out such great insights from all over the world. It just lends a lot of, a lot of strength to everyone's argument. When the audience everywhere, is glued into the subject, they've all done some bit of work, so all are interested in what you're saying, and everybody, I'm sure, has a lot to learn, from the speakers. So here we go. Transform is an organization that connects youth learning to employment, and I think that was the thought behind a lot of conversations and presentations that we heard about how is it possible to align young people to their future careers? What difference does it make when different people in different age groups are, accessing different level of awareness or information or exposure, if you will? And why is it really important for them to be connected as early as possible, be aligned as early as possible? So I think that's what we're trying to talk about here. The difference in our presentation, however, is that it's a practice. It's an approach that we use to deliver on how to really connect, how to really align. We appreciate this is important, and therefore we came up with a solution a couple of years ago, and that's what my forthcoming slides are going to be talking about. So let's look at this slide. Just how it absolutely defines on the screen successful career guidance programs, a perspective on deliverables and implementation methodology. So we're looking at, exactly what the program delivers and exactly what's the implementation methodology that we had, when we delivered on those promises. Let's look at quickly on the opportunity and how we really came to that solution. Of course, all of us understand, don't need to spend a lot of time on this, but it's important that I just read one or two lines out of this. We all understand that today's youth cohort can be seen as a resource, an asset, a force for economic and social progress and transformation. But such economic change depends on how well countries create an enabling environment for growth. More importantly, on how well they create conditions for young people to make a safe and healthy transition from adolescence to adulthood. It's so important. It's all a multi-stakeholder responsibility. And I think, what inspired me to reach out to OECD was exactly that. When I saw that on the website, there was a mention of multi-stakeholder responsibility being of essence in enabling a successful transition. Looking at the problem again, not spending a lot of time on this, we understand that why alignment is needed, why connection is needed, because there is a phenomena of mismatch. World Economic Forum says that education is inadequately tailored to the needs of the labor market that leads to increase in educated unemployed. Educated underemployment. Youth are underemployed because they're not involved in jobs that are in line with their qualifications. And they also, list this as one of the global risks, and they've been doing it for years together since 2017. So what works? Let's look at our findings from research and practice. When we experienced this problem way back in 2014-15, we realized that the problem wasn't really, to be able to address it, for a few students or few institutions. The problem was to actually make it an institutionalized way going forward for organizations, for governments, for schools, for colleges, for young people socially to transition from learning to work. It's important that we don't offer it as a service that could be accessed by the haves or economically stronger section. It's a service that must be institutionalized within the fabric, of the government or the educators or the institutions, whoever, if you will, are working towards youth employability. And the 4 pillars of successful transition, this is a part of the research. So prior to practice, prior to showing the solution, let me quickly talk about what really are the pillars that we are gonna, that you're gonna dwell upon when we talk about the solution. So first is the awareness. then the exposure, third is participation, and then comes the connections. So why awareness? And this is interestingly a quote from OECD's document way back in 2016. That was a time when we had conducted this research, and it said that youth need access to good quality information to make well-informed choices about education and career pathways. But the United Nations said that exposure to world of work while still in education was beneficial for all young people across all pathways. But again, OECD said that youth need to be welcomed as full partners in claiming their right. Their participation is a right in itself. It's one thing to tell a young person what to do. It's another thing for them to participate in their transition, to take ownership of their own life, to make decisions which they'll be able to drive individually, personally, without having to seek motivation or guidance from other people. They must participate in this decision and take ownership of the decision. Finally, connections. The skill mismatch requires that the channels of communication between education and work are strengthened. That was World Economic Forum. Now, that said, these were the 4 pillars that were forming the foundation of our product design way back in 2016. And how we designed the solution on these 4 pillars. Now, let's have quickly look. So we designed a process-based solution to deliver on 4 pillars of transition. And those 4, the process, included 4 parts: discover, design, decide, design, and deliver. Now, that said, it was very important for us to really make it a circle of transition. It's not that one time you go through the process. It's an iterative process. When I'm in grade 6, when I'm 13-year-old, I may be able to discover a few things at a very primary level. When I grow up, when I'm, let's say, an adolescent in the age group of, let's say, 14 to 16, then I maybe have more exposure, more awareness. Maybe I again, go through the cycle of again discovering a new set of occupations. The world is, transforming at such a fast pace. Maybe I actually was not aware of certain occupations, 2 years ago, and now there are new occupations like data scientists and cybersecurity, if you will, which weren't there 5 years ago. So it is an iterative process. At different age groups, different levels of awareness, different levels of exposure, people must have to make this decision, maybe again and again, try to kind of stay current. Now, the 4 steps: discover. Students know about self through assessments and learn about their personality, interest, and aptitude. In the decide stage, they explore, shortlist, compare, and finalize choices in learning and work. And they see what is correlating to their own personality and strengths. In terms of the stage 3, the design stage, students create a profile capturing their personality, traits, and choices in learning and work. And finally, at the step of delivery, we make sure that the stakeholders, whether they are educators, whether they are institutions, or they are governments, they monitor the progress and access information on youth interest and choices in career, education, and skills. So if you see the entire process has been designed in a manner that, first of all, young people must have to know. And I heard in one of these OECD conversations that, and I think it was in the plenary session right in the beginning, and say, if you don't know something, you can't be passionate about it. You can't be pursuing that as an option because you don't know. So it's the most important for you to have information before you even desire to, work in that stream or, let's say, pursue that kind of career. So discovery is most important, not just about yourself, but about also the world of work. And there has to be a decision-making process. There has to be a way that you shortlist. There has to be a way that you compare. That there has to be a way that you finalize your options. And then comes, of course, how do you present those choices to the world, and then let the world do what it can do to make sure that your readiness, your career readiness, does work for you in terms of your future readiness in future, right? Now, these steps have detailed aspects to it. When we said discover, we were looking at enabling a user to take personality assessment that highlights their key personality traits. We're looking at enabling a user to take career interest assessment that highlights the field of work. And then, of course, also the aptitude to understand what aptitude levels do they currently have, and if they want to do something different, which is kind of slightly needing more effort, how much more effort do they need? We believe in our solution that it's nothing, there's nothing in the world that youth cannot do. It's just that, the effort may be different levels. If I want to be an astronaut, maybe I don't have aptitude for it right now, but that could be developed. Interest develops skills, interest develops aptitude, effort can develop aptitude, or knowledge, if you will, or skills, if you will. Then the second stage of decide, so explore, shortlist, finalize. I did talk about it briefly. So our platform enables a user to know about options in career education, including companies and colleges, and this is all customized for the local environment. Let's say if it is in North America or in North Africa or in Asia or other parts of the world, the data and the information is customized to the region. They're able to shortlist, they're able to add options in their career and education cards to shortlist and then finalize, of course, later, right? They can also compare. Then third stage is design, to collate all this information. Hey, this is not my LinkedIn profile, which captures what I have done in the past. This is my personal aspirational profile, what I will do in the future, what I want to do in future. These are absolutely, I would say the most compelling documents one could see of an adolescent, who wants to demonstrate to the world, hey, this is what I want to study. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to be. These are the skill sets that I want to acquire. How much more could we connect with a young person, if we kind of know all of this information? I think it's probably the best level of interaction that could be made possible if we only understand the minds of young people and not just the passion that comes out of their limited information, but a decision that comes out of their information and awareness, adequate information and awareness. Then, of course, organize, enables a user to organize the information about self, and then implement a passion plan, enables a user to design a shareable, downloadable profile. Finally, deliver, enables a government to monitor progress in real time. To be able to deliver on any data points, you have to make sure that you're able to deliver the program to the student, you're able to help them complete the process on the platform so that they're able to bring out their choices, follow a process, and give the results. Enables governments to access the statistics related to students' usage, progress, and results. And then finally, reports. The most interesting part is the last part, enables governments and institutions to download reports using various filters. What are the student interests? Where is it that they want to go? What is it that they want to learn? What is it they want to do? So much information so that you're able to align your investments, your future plans, your industry plans, even entrepreneurship opportunities to the interest of the students. Quickly looking at the dashboards, we have dashboards at all the levels, individual level, counselor level, institution, administration, district, state, country. At all the levels, people are able to not only just monitor the progress, but also able to see what their students, whether they are in school or in a certain class or in certain grades or in certain district or in their country, what are they thinking? What are they wanting to do? So it's an entire process that the system follows. It's a tool that has given us access to a space wherein government was completely unaware of how could they reach out to young people and how could they align their initiatives. And what were the expectations? Let's look at it. When we went to these institutions and governments and students, let's look at the expectations. The students were expecting that they'd be able to discover their strengths and interests. They would gain knowledge about future world of work. They'd be able to connect their academic learning with world of work. They would get information about world of learning. There'd be a process of goal setting. The power of networking is what they were looking at, not just networking on usual social media channels where there wasn't really a commonality of purpose, but somewhere where they could really talk to people who are like them, who are pursuing interests or passions which are like them, so that they don't want to be able to, not talk to anybody. They're able to tell their parents, hey, I know 3 or 4 more people who want to be what exactly I want to be, right? And then finally, future skills development, complex thinking, communication, teamwork, all of it. These are the expectations. Now let's look at what stakeholders were looking at from such a program. Now, why am I showing you these expectations? Because our implementation went far and beyond just the platform. Our implementation went far and beyond just the software solution. It actually worked closely with students and all stakeholders to deliver on their expectations. So the stakeholders were expecting that we wanted to know about youth talent, their interests, their choices. The stakeholders are expecting to introduce the program through technology because for scale and for, and for speed, of course. A lot of times we realize that the economically stronger, areas in a region are able to access different solutions. Different people are able to deliver their services. But when it came to people in not so, I would say, promising areas, geographically or economically, they weren't able to access services of the types that people in economically stronger areas were able to access. The stakeholders also wanted to be able to monitor the progress, not just deliver a capability, not just deliver a functionality or a software tool, but also monitor whether the platform is being used, whether the students are progressing, and if not, at what level and at which area the intervention is required to maybe motivate the students. We didn't see anybody not using the platform if they didn't know about it. And not just know about it, they have to be motivated in the sense that how is it good for them? So even before we deliver on the platform, we deliver on our promise of engaging students in a manner that they understand that if they were to go through this journey, their lives could be what they want it to be for them, right? Ability to access the results of the activity, not just see the usage as to are students using them, are they signed up, have they completed the steps, but also to be able to access the results of the activity. Ability to connect youth, talent, interests, and choices with opportunities, and ability to scale at speed. So these were the expectations. And how did we deliver our solution, which met these expectations? So when we were delivering the program, we were using, of course, a process-based career education and skills development program for students and for stakeholders. I quickly read out. For students, it was a program that enhanced self-awareness and career awareness, and it delivered a process-based approach for informed decision-making in career and education. As far as stakeholders are concerned, it was a dynamic access to youth choices in career and education for youth-centered decisions in education, skilling, and employment. How did we do it? A fusion of technology with execution. As I said, we just didn't deliver on the platform. We just didn't say that, hey, this is the functionality, this is the platform, and this is what it does. Go ahead, use it, and you will have benefits. No. A standardized, scalable, cloud-based career education and analytics platform was complemented by training and implementation. The students, schools, colleges, districts, state, and country level, all of them participated, school-wise, district-wise, and state-wise. All of the information was not just derived in a systematic manner, but all these stakeholders were involved at each level for implementation, delivery, monitoring, and accessing the dashboards. So a quick look at the implementation framework. So there was a regional office that we normally have. There are different schools which has the technology access, different districts, interests, and choices that are delivered to the state, and then state then takes the decision in employment, education, skilling, and even sports. We were surprised. People also looked at the outcomes of these initiatives to actually create intervention in sports and other extracurricular activities. What were the outcomes for the students? Career interest mapping, world of work exploration, and career goal setting was the outcome. A student could set a goal. I'm sure I heard this again in one of the speakers talking, that if there is a goal, there's a very higher chance, far higher chance for a student or an individual to be successful in life. So there was a goal setting, which was a concrete outcome. World of learning exploration and academic goal setting was another outcome. Career networking and resume creation. These are the outcomes of the platform for students. And for schools, they could see the platform usage, they could see the progress, they could access the youth personality and career interest, and also the career interest goals and academic interest and goals. This is the dashboard, and I'm going to be showing you a zoomed in version of this. So this is quickly a snapshot of a real dashboard of Transform. So if you see here, there are users right here, 73,000 users, and then you have how many of them have decided on their career goals, how many of them have decided on other specific areas, and then further details, which ones are the users where cluster survey, RISE personality survey, and career goals and academic goals are shown. So all of these students, if you click that dashboard, the list of those students would appear. And all this data is in the ownership of the government, is in ownership of the institution. it's nowhere on the public domain. It's not accessed by us. It's their platform, it's their data, and their absolute user privacy, absolute institutional privacy is maintained because, of course, these are young people. How would it impact school to work transition? So pre-intervention, this is how usually, they would, our clients would usually look at this landscape. Of course, students had lack of awareness about career and learning options. There was disconnect between employees and students. Many young people were unemployed or underemployed, and employers were also not able to find talent. So there were dropouts. Some of them were skilled, unemployed, others were skilled and degree holders, but were somehow underemployed or unemployed or even unemployable. But post-intervention, what we found was relevant and timely information regarding strengths, interests, and opportunities enabled the students and the governments and the institutions align the youth choices with employers, educators, and they were able to take youth-centric decisions. It finally leads to employable youth, because if they have the right information about what they are pursuing, what kind of skill sets are needed, what kind of preparation is needed, what kind of effort is needed, what kind of prospects are there in future, they'd be able to create a path for them which makes them employable and future ready. And it also creates a talent pipeline for high demand of both sectors. So there's a very clear transition from decision making to employment. What were the critical success factors, in terms of practice and implementation? Not only just the certified platform, let me quickly tell you, the platform is certified by Education Alliance Finland, and I'm sure all of us understand the importance of Finnish pedagogical knowledge and learning science principles. So they looked at our platform for almost a couple of months, and we brought about a lot of changes for them to be able to certify this. The program was tested by professors, by educators, by even government professionals and students. Team mobilization was the next success factor. We had to bring together the counselors, the champions, the school principals, representatives, administration for successful implementation. Technology enablement and capacity enhancement, making sure that all of these people have access and training to use, project monitoring and progress reporting, daily dashboards, progress reports, and exception reports as to who are the students who are yet to be there, who are kind of lagging behind. How do you bring them forward? How do you do separate sessions to get them, at pace, bring them, on the same pace as others? Customer support. All of these are critical success factors. Now, quickly coming to mobilization. So there was a ratio. So there's science behind it. What we do, it's not that, you train people in groups, in a random fashion. There are ratios that we follow. 1:10 student champion to student ratio. For every 10 students, there's one student champion who's trained. For every 250 students, for example, there are school representatives and school principals who are trained. Counselors and students are trained, and the ratio of 1:1000 students, and the training team is deployed in a district. So one training team per district. So that was the mobilization that we looked at. Now, it's not just about what you deliver and how passionately you deliver on the program in terms of implementation. It's also important that the training of the students and teachers, or of all the stakeholders, happens in a manner that they're in complete know of the process. They know how to help each other. They know how to hold hands. They know what works, in the process, and which is more suitable for a particular age group or a different age group. Motivation and engagement. I can't emphasize this more. This is the key. If you do not motivate the stakeholders, if you do not motivate the students, if you don't engage them, seldom solutions, deliver results which they normally promise. So we're really high on motivation and engagement. In terms of the dashboards, as you say, 227 school dashboards, 29 counselor dashboards, 100 plus exception reports. It's very important. I learned way back in my career, whatever gets monitored, whatever gets followed up, gets done. If you deliver on something as a one-time activity, if you don't monitor it on a daily basis, then it will fizzle away. It just does not work like that. Let's look at the outcomes. Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. I can see there are lots of questions coming up in the chat facility. So if you could just sort of, or even just perhaps if you'd like to just bring your presentation to a close shortly, then we can pick up on some of those questions.
Okay,
I'm not sure how many more slides you have.
I think I'm probably done. They're just pictures after one or two slides. Yeah, so we're going to be done.
One or two, and then let's get into the conversation. There's some great questions here.
Right, so we'll be done in 3 minutes. With
3 minutes, lovely. Yes, thank you.
Okay, so let's look at the outcomes. We had 96% student completion, 236,000 choices by just 30,000 students. I mean, that makes it more than 10 choices per students in career and academics. You know, students, they're like, you know, like a child in a toy store. You want to see everything. Hey, this is also what I want to do. This is also what I want to explore. So they were absolutely excited, and they were, you know, looking just about everywhere and looking at all the options. If I show you this career choices, you know, they were absolutely crisp statistics that came out of the entire platform. How many percentage, what percentage of students were choosing a certain field? And, you know, of course, you know, with the numbers, and similarly, what were the statistics in different fields in academics? If you look at qualitative outcomes, you know, enhanced awareness of world of work, career decision-making skills, enhanced curiosity.
Fantastic.
You know, to use information. And that's it, really, you know.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you very much.